Good morning. This is your sister Amma. This morning, I feel like throwing out some fundamental, some textbook stuff in modern life. I've done commitment. Let's get on with the other side of things. You see, everything looks like a toy if you don't know the use. What I'm about to show you is my charger. But when it glows at night, to a child, this is a toy. A knife looks like a really nice toy to a baby because the kid does not have any idea of the damage a knife can do. Yep. Anything in a bottle looks like something a child should taste because a child has very little experience of the dangers of things in bottles you don't know of. Anything you have absolutely no knowledge of looks like a toy and looks harmless to you, and it's not. One of those things that a lot of us have turned into toys is social media. Social media is not a toy. Social media is a double edged sword. It is a double edged sword in the sense that once a mistake is made on social media, it is really difficult to retract. I know things like Snapchat purport to make things disappear in 24 hours, but I promise you, if you knew how to find those things, if you knew the right service to access, you can still access those things beyond those periods. Things on the social media are permanent. Once your video goes viral, your face is out there. Your face is out there. Be very careful with things that you share with people because you have to bear in mind where they could end up and the permanence of this mistake before you are caught. This social media has lost many people jobs because they've been caught behaving otherwise as expected of the roles in which they perform. I know personally teachers who've lost their jobs. I do know somebody who is a legal practitioner who's lost their job as well. But quite apart from the ones who already have the jobs and have lost it, many people have lost potential jobs because of Facebook searches. As any serious employer wanting to understand the character, especially if it's a position which requires higher moral standings, then you would find that this potential employer will do a simple Facebook search. My question is, are the things on your profile things you want potential employers to find? Do you think a person will be in a hurry to employ you once they've seen your social media posts? Will it advocate in support of your application or will it condemn you? Do you understand that this social media can be used by law enforcement agencies and it has been used and put people in serious trouble, especially when it comes to sharing things willy nilly? Any video you see, you want everybody to see, so you share it. Your intention might not necessarily be to propagate evil, but it can be easily misconstrued that way. And when other people construe it that way, it's difficult, nearly impossible for you to defend yourself. Be very clear of child pornography and your role, potential role, out of ignorance in the propagation of child pornography. You are mortified and you want other people to be outraged, so you share it to all your groups. But the law enforcement agencies will not take that view. They would say that you were interested in the content and you shared the content with other people you assume will be interested in the content as well. How will you defend yourself? How will you defend yourself when this happens? Social media and comments made about social media allow people to see your fundamental beliefs. So be very clear that what you put on that wall represents your beliefs. It's not everything people tag you in that you should remain tagged in. Remove yourself from the tag if it violates your beliefs. Don't worry about offending other people, they don't really count. The thing you should worry about offending is your own perception, the way you come across to people. Be clear that once things are out there, when people tag you into things that you remain tagged in, when things grate on your beliefs, but you still stay there, when groups are contrary to what you believe in, but you still stay there because you don't want to offend, what you are actually saying to the world is that you believe in the core values of those groups. Is that really what you want to say? See, Facebook in particular is now a toy in people's hands because, like children, they don't understand the double edgedness of it. People don't understand the dangers associated with this social media. So people come here thinking it's a paradise for play. It is not. This social media is a place where serious people can really make gains and develop. People establish businesses and people do profitable things. People connect with like minded people. People find advocacy over here. Facebook is wonderful. Other people without this knowledge will come to Facebook and think it's a news agency. No, Facebook is not a news agency because nothing here is verified unless you go to a media outlet, which by the media ethics will have to verify what they put out there, individuals and what they put on their walls. It's exactly that, thoughts, ideas, sometimes purposefully misrepresented information to suit an agenda. So this is not your news outlet. So if you thought Facebook is where you get your credible news from, then I have got alternative news for you. It clearly isn't. And quoting what you've seen in Facebook only makes you look ignorant and stupid in some places because the information can be very incredible. Be careful what you cite because Facebook is not a peer review channel. No, you will not find the most credible information on social media. Be very careful. The places you seek information and the sources that you quote in your seemingly intelligent submissions. Be very careful about that. See, insults on Facebook can be cited as defamation of character in the law courts. And now, Facebook and evidence from social media is actually admissible in the law courts. Be very careful of that one. Be careful before you write something spiteful about me because I have annoyed you. Because once it's in print, like I said before, once you put it out on the social media, you may delete it, but with the right people, it can always, always be recalled. Be careful. Before you come and say anything about somebody, about an event, please check and make sure that once this information comes on this media form, that you are able to stand by it and defend it. Otherwise, don't go there. See, this social media is used by people with information. And if you have the right information, things will change for you. You can do wonderful, wonderful things via this medium. You see, people who understand how to reach an audience are able to reach an audience because of knowledge. There are some people who have audiences and it is absolutely useless audience because you have not sought the information on what to do with the audience. An audience alone, fame without purpose is a useless, useless thing. Your Facebook audience, your social media presence has to be doing some work for you. Have you got any idea what work social media presence could be used for? Do you understand what you could use your followers for? Your video has been seen by 5,000 people, and so what? That's a question you should ask yourself. That's not an insult. And so what? What is that for? What could that be used for? This day, because I feel generous, I will throw out three things you could do with a Facebook audience. Three things. If you have a large audience, you should be able to contact brands. Show them your audience and get brand representation deals from brands. People should be able to advertise with you. People should send you their products and you simply put it out on your channels because you have 5,000 people. I know people who charge up to $100, $200 for Instagram shoutouts because those people, they have built the audience and they understand the audience is not here for decoration. People with large accounts are making significant incomes from simple shoutouts, 24-hour shoutouts. You could be the one on a video explaining somebody's product and getting paid for it. Or they could send you their videos to embed in your videos in order to get an income. See, advertising and brand representation is clearly one of the things you can do to make some money. Facebook audiences can also be used to share your views until the right people notice you. So you might want a governmental agency to work with you. They would never touch you with a badge poll until you actually get a significant following. So you might come to Facebook, you might do whatever to get a significant following in order to be noticed by the people you want to notice you. See, my dear, two different things that you could do with Facebook, all bringing profits, all bringing contacts, all bringing money in some cases. Well, in most cases, for me, when I do brand endorsements, I would like to see monetary returns for my time. Thank you very much. Remuneration for my time is very important. Do you even understand what the potential of your account is? How many people do you have again? 300,000. You do not need 300,000 to do anything. There are people who come on my videos and they mock me. Amma, you only have 20 people. And I laugh. Because, like children, you don't understand what we are playing with. You do not know the rules of the games. You do not need a million people. Yes, Amma is still able to do quite a lot with my 12 viewers because I have actually understood what can be done with a certain threshold. I can also enhance my own 12 people using other tools to get where I want to be. If you understood what can be done and what is required to be able to do them, then it is likely that you could come up with a strategy which will enable you meet them. My question today is, do you know the purpose of this Facebook, of this Instagram, of this Snapchat, of this, that, and the other accounts you are on? Are you TikToking to entertain people for free? And what's the ultimate aim? Once people like your account and follow your account and come to you, what have you got to give? There are some people who would disappear from social media like dinosaurs. They are going to become extinct because they have not learned the rules of the game. Things have changed. Things have changed significantly. In the past, you could monetize absolutely any content as long as there were drones of people watching it. That strategy, at least for Facebook, is completely changed. Nope, even the language. There are certain languages that you will not be able to get any returns of, regardless of the number of people who watch it. Yeah, there are certain number of minutes that you should be able to meet before certain things will be availed to you. There are certain numbers of engagement. So it's not just with how many people view your video, it is actually how many people engage with the video. When you go to your statistics on a video, on content you've put out, do you understand the stats and what the stats represent? Or are you just there looking at them? You think they're nice graphs? No, they are not nice graphs. It's like a kid with a knife in your hand. It looks like shiny metal to you because you haven't found out what it does. Go right out and go find out what it does so that those numbers and those statistics mean something to you for a change. So that you are able to use those numbers and those statistics to change outcomes for yourself. Do you know the difference between viewership and engagement? Do you understand? Do you understand the quality of engagement? Do you know the kind of engagement which counts and makes sense? Do you even understand what Facebook and other social media handles mean by soliciting engagement? Because I know many people who have got into trouble for soliciting engagement without actually understanding what they did exactly. Learn the rules. Learn the rules of engagement if you want to engage. Don't be a child. Don't be an ignorant child in this media age. Understand exactly what can be done, understand the limitations, and understand your liabilities for engaging. Facebook and all these things are collecting a lot of information for artificial intelligence. And if they are collecting information for their benefit, it better be benefiting you too. Yes, don't be a Facebook dinosaur, otherwise, you will become extinct. If you have a follower, you have a followership, and you are not doing anything with that followership, it is not worth bragging about it. No, your followership should actually be helping you achieve an ultimate dream. That dream might well be a legacy dream, but you have to know why you have the following, and you have to know what the following will do for you. Otherwise, it is useless following and not one to make noise about. In fact, for me, if I had a following and I didn't know what to do with the following, I'll be mortified and I'll be running crawling under a rock to go do research to fix it. This is my gift to you today. Take it because it's sent to you with the very best of intentions. I want you to be aware of where your liabilities are, where your limitations are, so you can take action to fix it. In 2020, we have to get better together and we have to hit each other very hard. So, today, if you know anybody who has a presence, anybody who has an audience, anybody who has followers, send them this video and let them watch it and let them ask themselves some simple questions. What's the purpose of it? What's the point of it? Is it working for you or is it just a waste of your time? My name remains Amma Manson. Follow me on all social media handles with that name, but you can also check me out on Facebook. I do have a progress oriented group called Transformations Inc. And if you're a parent or you have a child, you engage with the education system in any way, check my other page out. I Need Science is the name. I have a travel sister page for those of you interested in travel and exploration, and you will see many other things pop up on my channels because I am extending territories this year. Let's extend together. Let's get better together. Thank you for watching.
Hey, future on this beat, oh.
Well, hello, good morning. You are welcome to my Sister Talks series. This is Amma Manson. You can find me on all social media handles with that name. In this series, I talk to my sisters and I break down some really simple home truths. I help us to understand the rules of engagement so we are able to engage meaningfully. So, sister, let's talk. Today, I want to explain why you never should tangle with bulldog. And don't let bulldog raise your kids. Bull cats should not be raising your daughters anyway. Bull anybody should not be raising your kids. Only civilized people should be given that privilege. So, sister, let's talk. Those of you who are from the community I come from, the name Bulldog will mean something to you, but this is a general broadcast, so let me explain the principle of the guy I describe as Bulldog. Bulldog is a music person in Ghana. He just came out recently and exposed himself as a chauvinist. He thinks that women are only good for taking to funerals, to entertain the men behind the scenes, and just to look pretty. He does not recognize the woman's ability to do anything. He thinks women should not be around any meaningful table discussions because we actually have no brains. He is a guy who confuses genitalia to be the thinking organ. And he's one I've addressed recently. But today, I am actually addressing the women. Sis, see this guy, regardless of his muscles, regardless of his money, regardless of his position, is a guy you should not tangle with, especially if you intend to make that relationship meaningful. If you want to make it permanent enough to raise kids with this guy, you should not go there. Especially to have daughters for this guy and to raise them with him. It is catastrophic for those young girls and the future of womanhood. So let's talk. See, a father is the most influential influencer in a daughter's life. Let me say it again. A father is the most influential of all the influences in a girl's life. A father sets the store, he sets the tone, he raises the bar or otherwise, he diminishes this girl or he builds her from the get-go. A girl's self-esteem is predominantly begun by her father. Some girls come from very challenging backgrounds and they fight and they work and they maintain and they manage to build something of themselves. But even those, if they are honest, in their quiet moments have insecurities the ones who were raised in secure environments don't have. This guy and the environment he creates in the house is one which will help your daughter know whether she is capable, she's trusted to be capable, or she is just challenging and fighting against the tide to become something. Boys traditionally in most homes do very well because everybody expects so highly of them. Everybody thinks they can be everything. It is up to a boy to rise above and to do what they are supposed to do, but they are capable of it all, and everybody sings from the same hymn book. Unfortunately, it is not the same for girls. When you have a father like the one I had, who had the highest expectations of you, who will not let one mark go without accountability, who will not accept foolishness just because you were a girl, who does not think any Tom, Dick, and Harry is good enough to be with you, and does this and says this consistently over your childhood, what happens is that that girl begins to believe what daddy says. This girl knows that she's capable because from the get-go, daddy has said so, and there have been many instances where daddy has been proven right. Daddy works and daddy nurtures and daddy shows this child all the things that she can be. Daddy models it. Daddy brings in other people, other women, and helps her to identify role models. Daddy is working to develop this girl and to make something wonderful out of her. She will only become what daddy aims. You see, when daddy is the other alternative, when daddy is the guy who insults mommy in her presence, when daddy diminishes mommy only to a kitchen attendant and a bedroom worker, when daddy does not discuss anything of value with mommy, when the household environment is autocratic this way, this kid is never invited to be part of a democracy of life. She is one who is taught to be subservient from the very beginning. She begins to doubt her abilities because she's never been invited to participate the way her brothers are. Daddy and his friends laugh. Daddy and his friends talk. Mommy never says anything important. That is a very important lesson you are teaching your daughter from the get-go. Don't marry Bulldog. Definitely don't have kids. Don't have daughters with him. Don't let Bulldog raise the next set of kids because he is going to raise damaged kids. If those kids want to rise above that and become something else, it is an uphill struggle. It really is an uphill struggle. Like I've said before, the environment in the home, the tone of the home is predominantly set by this man. His environment could be enabling, in which case you would have wonderful young ladies thrive out of this union. Well-established, well-adjusted young lady, aspirational young ladies, ones who know their place in society is not determined by gender or genitalia, ones who understand that it is the credibility they develop, it is what they bring to the table, which is used to judge them, makes them want to do better for themselves. And so those girls, they don't wait for anybody. They just go out and they do it. Those girls don't depend on being married or otherwise to be legitimate in society. They are able to create their own agency and they have a voice in society which is commanding enough that people don't ignore because they cannot ignore. The other girls, they are always sneaking one in to be anything. It is so difficult for those kids to get to the same point the first set of girls will get to. There is no need being with a man who does not respect you anyway. But sis, even if you don't mind, even if you don't respect yourself enough, think about the next generation and the damage you'll be doing to those girls. Your daughter's self-esteem is either built or shattered by the man you choose to father them, the man who raises them. The man's beliefs are the ones which are imprinted on this kid from the very beginning. You are a human being, regardless of your genitalia. You can be intelligent, regardless. You can be an absolute asset to this family, regardless. I have interacted with many people, and they would say to me, but you don't behave like a girl. I'm like, what do you mean? No, you are very confident. I'm like, well, to be honest, I am capable. Full stop. It has nothing to do with gender. Clearly has nothing to do with genitalia. I am confident because I have actually invested and I have become capable.
I have created agency. That's why I'm confident, not because I'm a boy or a girl. No, there is no man I would allow at the moment to diminish my abilities just because he has a particular type of genitalia. See, girls like me who do it so effortlessly, who do it so naturally, who just don't think about it because that's the way things are. It's because of a background and an environment that you have created, really. Be careful of the man you select to be your husband, the man you select to father these girls, in particular, the man who raises these girls. Be very, very careful. Be watchful of how this man treats you, because what you are actually setting is the precedence of what your daughters will accept as treatment of themselves in future relationships. Most people only model what mama does with a few tweaks here and there. Do you want your kids to live the way you've chosen to be with a man similar to yours? Because abuse is cyclical because of this. When you select an abusive man, your daughters will attract abusive people. It's because of deficits they have. They have deficits, they need to fill a void. And when a kid has a need to fill a void, they attract unsavory characters. Think about that for a minute. I know. You think he's the most beautiful thing which has ever been made. Yeah, he has the greatest set of muscles. And you might actually be enjoying a particular body part. Great, great, all good for you. But sis, do you understand your responsibility to the future generation? Have you thought about that one? Are you aware that the next generation depends on your choices today to have a chance of liberation? Are you aware of it? Do you know that it is you who makes the coffin for your daughters and nail them in the end by the choices you make of the people who will raise them? It is this man and the fact that he enables you to be, he inspires you to be, he excites you to become. He is there fighting to become better, and he takes you with him on this ride, which motivates your daughters to understand that yes, they can, because they've seen both parents do it. Yes, you can run a business because my mom runs one. Yes, you can be an academic because my mom is one. Yes, you can be an influencer because my mom is one. Yes, my mom at home has a voice, and so do I deserve to have one. My mom is empowered in her house, and when a girl sees that, there is no way she would accept anything lower than what mama got. So be careful of lowering your expectations, sis. It is not just because of you. It is what you are saying to your daughters, which counts more to me. What mama says is acceptable is what girls would take as acceptable. What mama knows to be normal will influence the advice mama will give these girls when they come to situations where things are not ideal. Mama, empower thyself because your daughters need you to be. The next generation needs to have a better outcome than you do. Don't marry a bully. Please don't marry a bully. It will make your life unlivable to live with a bully, really. But again, even if you don't care about yourself, even if you don't mind, I am just begging you to think about the daughters who are going to grow up in this environment where bullying is normal, where people have a constant submission into verbal rhetorics which diminish you and undermines you. It makes it difficult for people to rise above and to aspire to become better. Sis, don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to your future girls. Look very closely at this man you are about to select. Check his beliefs very, very vigilantly. Be clear of the position he wants to put you in his life, because a lot of these men, they just want to objectify you. They want a beautiful woman to take to social gatherings so people know they have a beautiful wife. Sis, you are more than a beautiful face. Sis, you actually do have a brain, and you have a fine brain in that head of yours too. This guy better doesn't just limit you to a beautiful face. Be very mindful of that one. Be clear that this guy is aware of your beautiful mind. of your beautiful ideas, of your intelligent submissions. That this guy does not diminish your voice round the table because he doesn't think a girl should be heard. That he doesn't think the fact that a man has a particular type of genitalia qualifies him to speak better than you, because if you do, that suppression is going to create bitterness in you. It's going to create anger in you. Anger you might not voice out, but it will create elevated blood pressure for you. It will create other illnesses for you. It will make your life unnecessarily difficult. But again, even if you don't care about yourself, today I want you to think about your future daughters. Do you want your girls to grow up in this environment? Will this guy make an enabling environment for your kids? Will your daughters grow up being belittled every time and watch mama be belittled? How are these girls supposed to be aspirational when all they see is the people around them being belittled? Mama, sis, it is your job to make sure that never happens to your daughter. And that would only be secure if you get your choices right. No, Mr. Right is the kind of guy who facilitates your well-being, your total well-being. Mr. Right is the guy who enables an environment for your kids to have the best experiences, the most rounded upbringing, the most aspirational upbringing, telling them they can be anything because your kids are blank canvases. They've only just been born. They are only babies. These kids do not know much of the negatives of this world and should definitely not be introduced by their dad. Be careful that the man you have is not physically abusive towards those girls, because that will set a standard of it's okay to be hit by somebody who purports to love you. It's not normal, sis. It's not normal. They should never witness a man hit you, ever. So even if you have no self-respect for the sake of those kids, the minute a fist lands, you remove yourself from that situation. Don't let your daughters watch it. Don't let your daughters think it's normal, because it clearly is abnormal. It clearly is abnormal. Sis, you see, you have a huge responsibility, not just to yourself, but to the future daughters you have, or in some cases, the current ones you have. Be sure that you understand this important job. Be very clear that you do know your position in these kids' life as the custodian of their protection and well-being. And make sure that the choices you are making reflect this every single time. Don't forget yourself. Don't think you are choosing material comforts only. Don't choose just for beauty. The genes you are selecting are very important. The behaviors you are selecting, very critical. It will determine a lot of things for you and for the kids you are about to bring forth and raise. Know your responsibility, and please, in goodness' name, act responsibly at all times. My name remains Amma. No, this series, when I'm sat on my bed musing, is not for fun. Amma muses about the deep thoughts of life. Amma wants to challenge you to become better, not just for you, but for the people who depend on you. Amma wants you to make better choices so that those girls we are about to raise or raising will get a better experience, and they will be more empowered to do better for future girls. Be mindful of this rule in everything you do, because it is in fact your most important rule. Follow me on my social media channels. I'm Amansin. You want to find my work on self-development and empowerment, look me up on Transformations Inc. on Facebook. If you're interested in teaching and learning, especially of secondary school science, the three science subjects, you can check me out on I Need Science. It is also a Facebook page. And if you go to my main profile, I'm Amansin, you will see all my interests, and you can follow whichever one suits your interests as well. Thank you for watching, but please don't keep this one to yourself. This one is one to share. Every woman, every potential woman, every young girl should see this before they make their choices. And that's why Amma muses. Thank you for watching. See you.
Future on this beat, oh.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning from my end. I greet you sincerely, whatever time happens to be at your end. It's good to see you. So, this series is called Musings from Amma. This is a monologue. It's Amma going over the things that I have seen in life, Amma revisiting events, sharing my experiences, and hopefully drawing your attention to things so we can all improve life together. It is my musings, and they come from my bed because I normally sit here to think and to reflect. And today, I want to discuss marriage. Some of you may be coming across me for the first time, so let me introduce myself. My name is Amma. Other people know me as Mamet. I am African, so I have many names for different purposes. Same person, depending on the perspective you know me from, you would know one of those two names. Doesn't matter, same person. I am married to a certain man. I have two children, a boy and a girl, both of whom are teenagers. Both kids born to the same man that I am married to and live with, and have done so with for quite a while. In this marriage, I have seen so many triumphant moments. And in this marriage, I have seen so many devastating moments. I have been loved. I have been not loved. I have been the center of somebody's universe, and I have been on the periphery of somebody's universe. I have been very important to my children, and I'm no longer that important to my children. It is life, it is a circle of life. But what I have seen in marriage, what I have learned, I want to share with some of you, especially those who are embarking on the journey. And I want to share what I have learned that I wish I knew from the beginning. My dear sister, you have to know who you are. Absolutely have to know who you are, because the minute you get married, you invite so many loud voices into your life. The loudest of those voices is your husband. But sometimes your husband's voice is also amplified by his mother, by his sisters, by his cousins, by his friends, by his work colleagues, and each one of these people brings their own opinion on how things should be done. You need to be absolutely clear of your own identity, because all these people will need to change you to suit an agenda. If you are not clear who you are, what you believe in, what you represent, and what you don't represent, you will find yourself pulled in so many directions that you begin to confuse yourself. People will tell you all sorts of things that a wife should do. A wife should do this. A wife should do this. And you will try very hard to meet all these expectations. But the truth is, it is unrealistic to think you can meet them. And the very people who propagate some of these things don't practice it themselves, because it is not possible to practice. Be clear of this fact. When people ask you to do things, they might be able to do it themselves. And if they can, it's good for them. And if you can't do it, it's fine to hold your hand up and say, I'm sorry. I know you can maintain a 5-star hotel standard home, but I can't. If that makes me lazy, then so be it. Maybe I am lazy. It is not the end of the world. No, my husband knew a lot of things about me. I might be lazy in this dimension, but I bring many other things. In a marriage, you need to be vocal and tell the other person what you do accept and don't accept, what you believe and don't believe, what works and doesn't work. You will have to commit to communicate that to your partner. Even if you make a mistake, like I did make a mistake in the early days, wanting to please. And I found that that desire to please was turning me into something. It was making me bitter.
It was making me lose my confidence because I was trying to be what I'm not. And I was not successful in being what I'm not. And because I was unsuccessful on repeated occasions, trying to do what I'm not, faking what I can't, my confidence as a woman was beginning to get affected. And I sat, reflected, reviewed, and decided that the best thing to do was to be myself. But once I had changed the rules of the game, that I had changed the rules of engagement, it was up to me to tell my partner, no, I know I allowed it before. That was nonsense. I will not repeat. No, I know I did this in this way before, but I will no longer do that. No, this doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. But I have to give you a disclaimer here. Sometimes when you change the terms of engagement, you are that important to the other person that they do want it. They are happy to have you in their life, and they are quite happy to renegotiate terms with you. Sometimes that happens. But there is also the alternative where the other person only accepts the person who does the things you no longer want to do. So be prepared that when you change the terms of engagement, your partner, your husband, might elect to move on. And that's fine. It just means that the two of you were incompatible in the first place, that both people cannot be happy in this union. In a union, both people need to have themselves represented. Yes, sometimes you will have to negotiate, sometimes you will have to compromise, but it should not be one person compromising to the satisfaction of the other one all the time. Each one of you will have to gain some and lose some in this compromise. So everybody is seemingly happy. Everybody's needs are met to an extent. Very important. When you change the terms and conditions, be prepared that the person you are with might not necessarily be overjoyed by some of the changes because they're self centered. They will resist. People will try and bully you to change. People will bring doctrines, religious doctrines. They will bring cultural perspectives. They will use a lot of things as references to make you feel bad enough to change your mind and to return to what they are happy with and comfortable with. You will have to learn to dig deep and realize that your happiness also counts. No life left behind, including yours. Everybody's agenda fostered, including yours. You will have to write it if you're a righty person. You will have to recite it. You will have to psych yourself up with that mantra because that mantra is actually true. You are allowed to be happy too. And if you have to be happy without certain people, then so be it. You are also supposed to be happy some of the time. In this marriage, I have seen a lot of forces become more dominant than me. I have heard so many voices a lot louder and a lot more clearer than my own in my own marriage. And I realized that that balance was wrong. It was tipped the wrong way for me. There should be two voices in this marriage. It should be mine and my husband's, and we consider other voices. But nobody else's voice should be louder than me. Nobody else's influence should be more significant than mine and my husband's. And when I discovered that the voices were louder than mine, I had to silence those voices. I had to. I had to eliminate some of those voices. I had to call some of those voices to order. I had to remind who else needed to call some of those voices to order what his responsibilities were. The people from my side who were very loud, it was my job to make sure that they knew their place. But the people from his side who were also loud, it was his place to address them. So I started dealing with the ones on my side and silencing those voices as I modeled what I expected. Living and doing as I demand was definitely a good policy. I started dealing with those on my side, the ones that I could control, and I dealt with them effectively. And that was enough advocacy to invite the other person to do the same. If you did that and it was not working, then your person does not deal with non-verbal clues and you will have to learn to verbalize. You will have to call people and challenge people, call people to order. That's fine. You are an adult engaging in a marriage. You are not a child to be placated. You are not a servant to be instructed. You are not somebody else without a brain that other people need to think of. Remember that. In this marriage that I have been in as long as I have, the only reason why I have remained safe is because I have learned to love me. I have learned to care about me. I have learned to make sure that my cup is full so that it overflows into the life of my husband and impacts him. So it overflows into the life of my children and impacts them. External family members impact them, including strangers if I can. But you cannot overflow to other people when your own cup is empty. Remember that policy. Fill so it overflows and impacts and influences others. Love yourself. Take care of you. Do what makes you less resentful. Do what makes you more focused. Please. Do what works for you, only what works for you sometimes. And when it's worked for you and you are in a position and capable of doing that for other people, you do so. When you start that journey, people will have a lot of opinions, believe me. You are selfish, you are thoughtless, you are unkind, and you have to look at those people and listen to those people and decide that they are just resisting change. They are just uncomfortable with the renegotiation. No, you are not wrong to take care of yourself. The good book says, love thyself and love thy neighbor. That's what it means by love thy neighbor as you love thyself. You cannot love your neighbor if you've not learned to love yourself. You cannot take care of anybody else unless you've learned to take care of yourself and meet your own needs. Make sure that your physical needs are met. Whatever you need to do to look on point, to be on point, to dress on point, so that you are comfortable with what is happening to the physical. Please prioritize that. It is very important. Whatever you need to do to help you escape from resentment, please do so. For some of us, escaping from resentment is simply saying no to things that we don't want to do. Simple policy has transformed my life. Do you want to go and do this? No. I want to sleep today. Such a body wants to come over. It will be nice, but I'm not in the mood to host today. Somebody is coming. Yes, they can, but we will have to secure catering services from elsewhere. Might it be better to meet such a body elsewhere? Or it's okay, such a body can come and you can host. I will be doing X, Y, and Z because it doesn't work. In the early days as a new wife, I did not learn how to do this. And I found myself very angry. I found myself very resentful. I found myself tipping towards the stereotypical Black woman. And I realized that it was nobody else's fault, it was mine. I had allowed other people to trample on my rights. I had prioritized other people. I will go shopping and I will buy things for the children and my husband and forget myself, but it was my income, money I had earned from hard sweat. No, I'm not a saint. I am a girl. I am a woman. And when you take care of other people's needs over yours, you begin to resent. And I was. So lucky I am that I actually worked out what the problem was. And from that day on in, I learned to shop for me. I learned to do things for me. I learned to buy lunch at work for me when I feel like it. I learned to take a few minutes for me to sit and relax. I learned to have conversations with friends who were just mine. I learned to make connections with other people. I wanted to do social media advocacy. That was my choice. Yes, it takes a bit of time from family interactions, but that's my time. I am allowed to take some time for me and things that I like, things that I appreciate, and that's okay. I am an adult with capacity, and I should allow myself to be able to exercise this capacity. Sis, if you don't learn to take care of yourself, if you begin to lose who you are and you lose confidence, your game is lost. Your game is lost. You have to remind yourself of who you are and develop who you are so you have a strong presence and people know not to disregard you. People know not to play certain games with you. People appreciate that you are a woman who are assertive. You have to learn to assert yourself and present your needs for consideration in a marriage. As your kids age, they will want to renegotiate things. Mom, can you take me here? Mom, can you do this for me? Mom. And you have to also learn to tell the kids, no. Yes, sometimes, but no, if it doesn't work for me. No, I drive extended periods to get to work. So no, after work, driving to go and drop off and pick up in different, it just doesn't work for me. That is an unrealistic expectation. And I've had to be very clear that the kids know I love them to the moon and back, but I also love me to the moon and back. I love them just as I love myself. I don't kill myself to please. I do not kill myself to please anymore. Dear sis, that man you love, does he know who you are? Does he know your aspirations? Does he understand where you want to take life? Have you told him? Have you shared it? You know he's not a magician, right? He cannot read your mind. You will have to tell him. Anyway, this is the first episode of Musings. We will definitely continue with this. If you want to see this series, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Amma Manson on YouTube. All these musings and the follow-ups will come from here. It will be shared to Facebook occasionally, but the home of this series is on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, follow my pages so that you can see this and share this with other people. 2020 is my year of empowerment for the woman. I want to draw your attention to certain things. And one of the places I want to start from is in associations, romantic associations, aka marriage or long-term partnerships. Today is just the intro. But when I sit in this bed and I begin my musings, you know it's going to be honest. It's going to be reflective. I will share things from my personal experience and from people I know who are dear and near and have given me permission to share their stories. I want you to know that you are not in this on your own. It is a struggle we all have. All your sisters have that struggle. Some people have understood that struggle. Some people have made gains because of that understanding. And we want to share with all of us so we all get better at taking care of this lovely sister inside. Thank you for joining.
the sun is there from afar. Just like the sun rising to my eyes. Hey, I don't realize, say she don't judge me. Na 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 na. Excuse me, lady, and I got.
Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 2 of Amma Muses. So, last episode we discussed not losing your identity within in a marriage. The feedback I've got from that one has been sensational. In fact, it's wonderful to hear that some of my sisters are actually beginning to explore themselves as individuals. I keep saying to people, I know that there is this duality of unity of purpose, even with dual people, but that duality can also not be denied. A husband and a wife unite in purpose. They live together and they have similar dreams and aspirations, or they come to a common agreement of dreams and aspirations. But then it is undeniable that you come from two different places with two different trainings. What is normal to one is completely different to another. We have our own needs. We are two people unified in one purpose marriage, but we still live in two individual bodies. And I am one of those people who believes that existence in two different bodies means that you can have two sets of needs. Take my husband and I, for example. My husband is an introvert. He is happy enough to just be in his corner. I am your eternal extrovert most of the time until I decide to introvert. That's me. I am one who needs to be out and about to actually feel like life has a purpose. I am not going to do that. My husband is happy. He is very happy being in the house, and he can do that for a whole month straight without going anywhere, and he's happy enough as it is. As for me, that doesn't do me. That doesn't float my boat. That would drive me insane. And in the early days of marriage, Nathan had no mistake of wanting to play and do only what he wanted. And this is what happened to this man. I said in the first episode, the ultimate occurrence was resentment. I really became resentful. I lost who I was. I didn't know who I was anymore. Life was not meaningful to me because everything that I believed in and everything that I enjoyed had been stripped back, and I had assumed everything that was his. And I was totally lost somewhere in this world. Because of that, even he was shortchanged in the woman he married because the personality of the person he admired had shifted. It was shifted. I was struggling because I didn't know who this person was. And thank God that I came across in my readings and in my research this school of thought, which reminded me that I have my own unique mind. He has his own unique mind. I have my mind, and so does he. We unify in purpose most of the time, but what feeds me doesn't necessarily feed him. What develops him doesn't necessarily develop me. So as much as I would like to play and I would like to do things in tandem with him, I also need to be honest and admit that certain things are so not me and other things are so me. And when things are so me, there's nothing wrong with seeking what is so me. What stimulates me, what excites me, is just as important as what stimulates him, what excites him. The fact that he is making progress is great, and I'm happy for him, and I champion him because he brings it to the same table. But I am not one who is able to just be a cheerleader. I also have to be down in the trenches, making changes, growing, developing, and bringing new things to our table. That day, when I came to this acceptance, was one of the days where my happiness began to turn in the marriage again. Marriage was no longer an oppression. Marriage became liberty for me. I am able to operate in this union as me, in tandem with somebody else. That is absolutely critical if you want to be in this marriage business. for the long haul. Most people call it midlife crisis. People call it many different things. But the truth of the matter is that what this midlife crisis is your mental breakdown from persistent and sustained effort to change who you really are. And life does not change. The stripes on a zebra does not change. There are some things that are so fundamental that you can trick yourself about, you can lie, you can beat about the bush, but it remains what it is. It doesn't change. The earlier you accept them, the better. You are an extrovert. You are an extrovert. And what feeds an extrovert and what stimulates an extrovert, what makes an extrovert happy and settled and fulfilled is completely different from what satisfies an introvert. You will need to pick up who you are. You need to work out what you need. You need to bring them to the table and you need to share them openly. And if something is not working for you, you've got to say. So my husband and I think a few years into the marriage, sat down. And I said to him, look, this whole staying at home, doing great, doesn't do anything. He's like, I'm happy to stay here the whole month. And that day I knew that doing everything with my husband as if we are joined at the hip was never going to work for us. That would be one of the quickest recipes to end divorce if we wanted. I wanted to be out and about, and so from that day onwards, I learned that the kids and I are going to have to go out sometimes. So now, that most of the time I will make plans with the kids without even telling him. He does not care. He doesn't want to come. He wants to stay indoors, and that's fine. That he is willing to stay here is also to be done on the understanding that he will do it by himself sometimes. No, I don't want to be in the living room just so I am near whilst he sits in the bedroom. That's not me. So, whilst he is in the bedroom, happy doing whatever he's doing, I'm out and about doing what makes me happy. Big breakthrough with us. I no longer need to frustrate him, trying to drag him everywhere he doesn't want to go, and he doesn't need to lament whilst he's doing it in the process. And I also no longer need to feel trapped in the home, because that's exactly what I feel like, trapped. This day, for example, is half term in my home. The kids and I are both home, but my husband is working. We got up, we went to the mall, we had a lunch date, didn't really do anything meaningful. We ate stupid things and we were just as happy as can. That's us. Getting out of the house is excitement enough. What we get up to doesn't matter whatsoever. Anything outside the home is wonderful because it gives you a break from the home. We love being home, but we don't like being prisoners of the home. That's my personality. My husband will come home and we would tell him the crazy things we did and he would shake his head. And it's like, why? The car is in the mechanics, but I was happy enough to jump in a taxi to go. Because I do need that break. And now that I've gone and I've come and I've got things to do and I've got work to do, I do not resent any of those things because I have learned what my needs are. And I am learning to meet them. The other thing, my dear, is stop expecting somebody else to meet your needs. You have to meet them. You have to take action to meet them. If you need to be out and about, please do make your plans to be out and about. If you do need to be wearing particular things, do make plans to be able to get those particular things and start wearing them. If you need to be eating particular things, make arrangements and eat those things. You don't need somebody else to organize anything for you. If it's your need, understand that it is you who meets that need. Don't kid yourself about it. Don't think that it's a partner's job to make you happy. Your partner's job is to make themselves happy and to try, if they can, to make your life easier. The person who's charged with making you happy is you, because only you knows what will make you happy. Don't override, don't gloss over what makes you happy, because that's actually a very, very important thing. You cannot be a good wife if you are not a happy woman. You certainly cannot be a good mother if you are not happy. If you are a resentful mother, oh my God, you lash at the kids. You do all the things you do, but you lament whilst you do it, and you lash unnecessarily. You are harsh unexpectedly. Whenever you catch yourself doing that, if you feel the need to retort, if everything is overwhelming, if everything is oppressive, then you are not taking care of your own needs. Adequately. Pause. Stop. Learn that to be selfish is also okay. The good book calls you to love other people as you love thyself. Love thy neighbor as you love thyself. You've got to learn to love thyself